What's up, everyone? Dave Bush here, your host of Kansas Sports HQ, Episode 1 Introductions. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Sheldon Howell, Sean Cutler, and obviously myself, Dave Bush. Welcome to the show, everyone. And Sheldon, why don't you lead us off? This is your idea. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I'm pretty excited about hopping on here and just having some good conversation. I think that this first one is going to be a little choppy. We'll probably look back at this one here in the next however many episodes and be like, holy moly, look at that. But messing around, we were just talking. It was kind of crazy. We've had some technical difficulties hopping on today. So it's been a fun little morning that we've had. So but yeah, no, I'm pretty pumped up about this. I think that this whole concept is going to be a lot of fun for us. It's going to be, cool for us to be able to try and, really put ourselves out there a little bit, hold ourselves accountable and be able to, do what we say we are doing, I guess. And I think that we have a lot of fun things that are happening around all of the different things that we operate. And I think this will just be another avenue for us to be able to share, cool stories, get to meet a lot of cool people, be able to, impact our local community, which for me, I think is probably the most important piece of this. And Lord knows, I guess we'll look back on this in a long time and see, what else comes of it. But for me, I think the fun part is just going to be able to, or being able to impact our local community, be about, what we say we're about and go from there. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What are you guys excited about? We'll do introductions too. I don't know that we have a full episode today. This is just going to be us kind of getting to know what we're going to be doing. So what are you guys excited about?
I think, just to try and avoid the old, I just get on and say whatever. There's got to be a purpose behind it,
Yeah.
you know. I think everybody wants to be in a spot to do this because everybody has opinions about something. So it is cool to have a platform of some sort. So we'll try to be prepared each time. Also, have a little, improvisation to keep things fun and hopefully funny. And and then as we just kind of touch each base of whatever we're working on or whatever our expertise is, and just trying to share that in a way that's the communication's clear, and hopefully we can help some people out and bring some people in.
Yeah. Dave, what about you?
I'm excited for the opportunity to share our story, to you know continue to build our mission throughout the community that we serve, and or the many communities that we serve. I think there's a lot of information and a lot of people that we can reach and touch on the subjects that we'll discuss. I mean, we all have a series of businesses that are very different but very similar in each community. So I think I'm more excited about that, and then obviously bringing in people to chat and see their view on things, and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, with that, like understanding, because I talk to, Drew quite often about trying to do this, and Drew, shout out to Drew, but he's kind of the reason that we just kind of, I guess, started running with the whole thing. I don't know. I'm a 100% or kind of 0% type of person. So like, if we're going to do it, like, I'm like, yes, hit the go button. Like, let's get after it and do it. And this is all a new thing for all of us. Like we talk all the time and do different things, and it's just this is all new for us. So it's going to be it's a cool growing experience in that aspect. But um, so let's kind of go through. I think for somebody or whenever they are going to look at this, it'd kind of be nice for them to kind of know what that looks like, right? Like all the different pieces, what you guys are involved with, what I'm involved with, and where it all kind of shapes up, which is kind of the point of this first recording, is to kind of lay out that storyline, if you will, and kind of piece those things together. And then obviously every week or day or whatever the heck we end up doing, we'll have a little bit more structure in that regard with the pieces that we're going to put together. But I think it would be important, or I think it is important to kind of show the whole history, right? Like, and just kind of run through all that. And maybe we record more in depth there. But I just want to kind of, for the person that's tuning in, to understand all the different things and then what we're going to try to talk about, I guess. Does that make sense? Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
no,
mouthful.
I
I
wasn't
know.
listening.
so I guess to start it off for what it is here, I was told I have the voice of a host, so here we are. And then outside of that, I think being able to discuss the overall, I don't know, dynamic that has grown into this opportunity is very solid. But Sheldon, that all started with you. So backtrack us. I mean, we're all related in the Wichita Parisi spectrum.
Yeah.
So let's start there, and then let's build this bigger picture for our audience.
Sure. Yeah. So essentially, we're inside of the HQ right now, and so that's kind of the origin story. Is we have made it to this spot, but there's a lot of history on how we were able to come about that. So if I kind of run through the timetable, it's been a little over 10 years now. I think we're in year 11, probably 20. Yeah, I think it is year 11, starting year 11. Long time ago, obviously played baseball, wanted to play baseball. I got done playing baseball and wanted to coach. And so I started working with a kind of a mentor of mine, Coach Dukes, and started kind of following him around and just trying to get involved with baseball related things. That relationship essentially led me to meeting Brian, who was my business partner, and or down the line was my business partner. But at that point in time, he was the person who was bringing Parisi to this area. And so when we got acquainted and got to know each other, he was like, "Hey, I know you're working with Dukes, but would you be interested in coaching this and checking it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, like let's see what it's about, see if it's cool, see if it's something that I would enjoy." And from that's kind of where the origin story started. What's kind of cool about that story is we were in a facility that was kind of like this facility right here, but it was just different, right? A long time ago, but same size, right? Because for those of you that don't know, Parisi operates out of now the HQ, which is 17,000 square foot indoor facility. So it's a relatively big space in here. We do all things sports, right? So there's just a ton of different sports related things happening. Um, and then from that, obviously we started slow. For the first many a years was just slow, slow, slow. And then as we kind of pointed along, we moved to a smaller facility. And when we moved to a smaller facility, we kind of restarted there. And then from that facility, we were able to then upgrade into this one. So in here, we do all of baseball related team stuff as well too. So that's all the different things that are happening, I guess. But so I just want to kind of run through the list, right? So that's the easiest way for me to point us in the right direction, because there is a lot of lists and these guys have involvement in that list and all different assets and facets. And so there's a lot of pieces there. But we have, so Kansas Sports HQ is the facility that we're inside of. Out of that facility, we have Wichita Parisi that operates out of here essentially year long. For those of you that don't know what Wichita Parisi is, we're a sports performance school. Sean, sitting right over here, is our program director for Wichita Parisi, and involved, heavily on that side of things. And then also out of here operates Kansas Collegiate League Baseball, which when I met Brian and Coach Dukes back in the day, that was a thing that they were, starting and getting involved with and doing. So I was just kind of in the coattails in the beginning. It wasn't even called Kansas Collegiate League Baseball back then, but it is now. So then we started that. Which we'll get into all the history of that at some point in time. But from that led to 6 individual nonprofit collegiate baseball teams, which we're obviously going to talk about on here quite often. Those 6 teams are located. We have Park City, the Park City Rangers, Valley Center Mud Daubers, El Dorado Walnuts. We have the Mulvane Patriots. We have the Midwest Moos, which are in Winfield, and then we have the Wellington Heat. which are in Wellington. So all of those teams, those all have individual stories and a lot of fun stuff in each of those communities. And then from those spawned the Summer Ball Showdown, which is the national tournament that happens as well. And so it's just been a ever growing and adapting thing that has happened around these different sports umbrellas. And I think the point of, or part of the point of this podcast is to dive into those and really kind of unpack all the different pieces and stuff that's happened there. Sean also is a coach with the Valley Center Mud Daubers, so he has a little bit of the baseball side on it. And then Dave is involved with all the teams, all of the everythings. Now he's a producing podcaster, tournament director with Summer Ball Showdown, operations for essentially all of the different things. So, we just have a lot of involvement in sports that are around here and just different things that are happening. And so that's kind of the simple short version of unpacking that. I just wanted to try and name all the names so that way we kind of at least hear them. But yeah, there's our starting points of all the different random things we're going to talk about.
So Sheldon's been around from the inception of things, and then I've been here for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in November. I actually met Sheldon at the old facility when it was called old, which was
Yes,
called
second
Wichita
one.
Sports Academy,
Correct.
and then Sheldon and I played slow pitch softball together. I ignored him for probably 3 or 4 years before deciding that it was time to jump in and see what we could do to. I vaguely remember the text, "Hey man, whenever you're ready to change the world, just let me know." And here we are. We're growing. We're doing some crazy stuff. And then Sean, you've been around here for how long now?
I met Sheldon in May of 2023.
All right,
So two,
and a half.
yeah, ish,
Yeah.
about 2.5 years.
Yep. All right. Well, tell us your kind of timeline from that. Just a little bit of your involvement. Probably not on the first one. I don't know if we want to dive too far into each one as far as organizational, but just kind of, you know, one, what kind of led you in the door the first time? You know what I mean? So people kind of understand the origin story there, and then how has that kind of developed?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty crazy. Uh Definitely uh God's worked some pretty uh impressive things together to make everything happen the way it has. And So I'm originally from Iowa, very small town in Iowa. I played a small school baseball in Iowa called Briarcliff in college. And I knew I wanted to coach because my sophomore year in college, we played high school ball in the summer in Iowa. So it's actually COVID. I went back home, and that was my first year coaching. So I coached for 3 summers, um, grades 6 through 12, at where I went to high school at Colonesco. Shout out,
Colo.
yeah, population 850 people. So
That's how many people were in my high school class.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, the competition is Iowa is to see who has the smallest graduating class. There's people who beat me. I had 30, and I've met people with much less. So, yeah. So when I went to Sioux City, I was going to college, playing ball, coming home for the summer, and coaching ball. It was a lot of fun, and I fell in love with it. I also still wanted to work in sports, so I didn't know exactly how I wanted to blend coaching and working in sports. But I knew if you needed to work in sports, you need connections. I didn't have a lot, so I was looking at graduate schools to go to, and it was either going to be Iowa or Wichita State. And I think when I applied for the master's program at each of those places for a master's in sports management, um, Iowa was going to make you take an extra test to apply. So I didn't do that.
Like I'm out.
So I filled out everything, and then it wanted some sort of test score.
Huh.
Wonderlic.
Maybe. I have no idea. I can't remember, but I remember that, and I was like, I'm already applied to Wichita State, and I had a connection from my high school. Who had a connection who did grad school at Wichita State, and he kind of raved about it. I met with him to talk about that, and he actually got me connected with the people I ended up working as a grad assistant at Wichita State for, in their athletic department, which was really cool. And it was a cool experience there. But coming around the next summer, so I got here in the fall of 2022, August 2022, to go to Wichita State for graduate school. And coming around that summer, I knew I wanted to still coach again somehow, but I was going to stay in Wichita, keep venturing out on my own. And then I was just emailing a bunch of different people, and somebody put me in contact with Sheldon. So I pulled up, and he we talked for a while about a coaching opportunity, and then also he said kind of pointed out the turf and said we actually kind of look for another coach to help with Parisi side of things. And I was like, I'm not fast at all. I'm actually quite slow. And he's like, that's okay. You can still coach it. And so it kind of blossomed from there. A couple weeks later, I got the in-person certification
Yep.
um, in Columbia, Missouri.
Shout out Chad Coy.
Yeah, from
Chad
Coach
Coy's
Chad.
my
master
guy.
master coach Chad
Yeah.
Coy. It was
Yeah.
that is a fun time. Me and a couple other coaches went out there, and then yeah. So from here, I was just part time for a couple year and a half. And then I coach at Valley Center. I'm an assistant coach there with the head coach Chris Browning and the other assistant coach Johnson Appleberry. You'll meet them eventually. So it's a cool thing we got going on over there. So I'm looking forward to those episodes. But and then here about a little over a year ago now, I decided to go full time here, and Sheldon put his trust in me. I put my trust in him, and a couple months down the road, got to be a program director, and then also I do. We kind of got set up where do a individual baseball lessons on the side, which is something that I never really thought of doing. I always wanted to coach a team, but the lessons thing is pretty awesome, and I really enjoy doing that. And it's all baseball, none of the other stuff you got to deal with. So you're just working with a kid trying to get him better at baseball. So it's really fun. So um, pretty thankful for the situation I'm in, and kind of a crazy road. I know that was not super quick introduction, but
That's great.
that's how I ended up here, and I'm sure we'll get into the other more finer details of everything else later.
Definitely. All right, Dave. Tell us your kind of origin
Yes.
story, a little bit of where you started, where you came from, kind of how it all pieces. Why is Dave here? What is going on?
Oh man. So it started off by doing hitting at your facility, and then just our relationship started building when we started playing slow pitch together. And every time we traveled, we would talk about business stuff and going from here and there. And like my background is operations and strategic planning, and basically just providing the tools and things for people to be successful, and hoping for the best with the businesses I've been a part of. But in during COVID 2020, I had the opportunity to, I guess you could say, jump ship, chase the dream that maybe operating businesses that help athletes and people as a former college athlete, and just somebody who loves giving back. So it gave me the opportunity to come in, and we sat down and worked out a little plan with the what, four businesses that I came in with, because you had the KCLB, Wichita
What
Parisi,
year was that? That was
2020.
right before. Trying to think how that timeline worked because we obviously were playing and hanging out, and you were like coming to the old facility, the middle one, because you were just like working out.
Working
Like
out
that
and
was kind of the start of all of those early morning masterminds, is what I would call them,
yeah,
because we were in the gym just talking basically. But trying to think, I mean, it was right before COVID because you were there before COVID, and then
yeah,
you were kind of during COVID was when everything was just like wild and kind of crazy. So it probably was like 2019, really.
I just remember traveling and you were like dripping information and you like left a packet in my car for me to look at. You're like, yeah, whenever you feel it, whenever you get time, man, just look at
Check this
this.
out, man.
Just look at this. It's
I'm persistent.
just let me know. And then with our softball adventures, I mean, we were gone what 2, 3 times a month trying to raise our rank and get out of like B or from D to C to B to whatever we could do. And then when COVID hit and things started shutting down, I said, all right, let's look at it. And
Yeah.
so that would have been November of 2020. And then everything kind of went kaboom. So
Yeah.
you look at the plans, I mean, from the idea to designing things to moving into connecting all of the pieces together. I mean, the big shout out here is Sheldon got me out of my operations shell to do more outreach and still allows me to do the operations side of it even if I really don't want to get out and about. He still encourages me to get out there and now I just don't care. Like I love being out and about and chatting and making relationships, whether that's with a community, individuals, or whatnot. It's always fun to meet new people and share our mission and purpose for what we have.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. No, it's been when you guys think of like him, couple years, you 5-ish years, a little bit longer, like it's just wild to kind of reflect and look at all the different pieces, right? So like all the different things that have changed over that time frame. It's just been there's been a ton of growth in all of us and growth in just the things that all happen, like it's just it's remarkable, I mean, we're blessed. We're very lucky to be in the positions that we are in, because many a decisions and many a things could just point you in other directions, and so it's just it's something that I'm very very grateful for, your guys's, relationships, but friendships, and then just being a part of the pieces that make everything tick is a big deal. And hopefully we are moving in the right direction to make those things continue, and that's ultimately kind of the goals there, I think. Um but yeah, I mean, so let's talk about a couple of the pieces and just kind of run into, I guess a little bit on the origin of some of the stuff, on, where it all started. Because Brian Patton was the reason that Parisi's here in the Wichita area. So thank you to Brian for one, taking a chance on me and believing in me, and giving me the opportunity to try it and stick with it because, in the beginning, it was not making any money whatsoever. We were essentially coming out of his backside to be able to keep things operational for a while. So, he's a massive reason that we've been able to, help so many people. So never ever do I want to think that he's not around or involved with this, because without him, it wouldn't have been possible with Parisi. So that's a big thing there. Same thing with Coach Dukes. Obviously, we wouldn't have a baseball league to even begin with if he was not involved with that. And kind of opening and ushering that door for me to be involved with that. And then past that, my wife, my family, God, without all of that, it wouldn't be possible. So, because they have, the ultimate sacrifice comes there because, as you guys know, this stuff takes time. Like we put so many hours and so much time into what we're trying to do, and there's no clock in clock out for this. And I think that's always a transition that people take when they work on things that are ultimately driven by themselves. Is we don't get the luxuries of like, oh hey, I get to close it up and go home at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it is. Like, it's just we're always on and we're always moving and grooving, and we got a lot of different pieces for that. And don't get me wrong, it's a grind. Like there's plenty of times that it wears you out and wears down on you, but kind of knowing the purpose and the vision and the reasons behind why we're doing what we're doing is what motivates us to keep going, and then growing closer together to keep it all floating and moving the ship the right direction. But just want to make sure that we, shout out to all of them because without it, it wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't be possible. So, but yeah, let's talk on, with those origin stories kind of all in mind. I think that's all awesome. It's fun to kind of revisit it. Those are things I guess we don't talk about in the office every day. So it's kind of cool to just look back on the journey and, for people that are tuning in for the first time that may not even know us, like we're just normal dudes, we're just normal people that are trying to do something different and, be a part of that and try and do some things that, make us, whoa, that thing's freaking out on me. Sorry. There we go. I'm back.
Hey, while he's working his way back, shout out American Collision and Hail Repair. Brian, thank you for taking care of our vehicles.
There we go. Oh, it's just my screen things freaking out. That's fine. Um, but yeah, like so, with the origins in mind, talking about what we're excited about, the reasoning behind why we're doing what we're doing, I think is kind of a big piece. I'll let you guys chime in on that as well too. But for me, I think that one, all the stuff that we do is really cool. I think that my goal with this entire thing is to be able to highlight local people and local organizations and local stuff to our area and just put more attention on it, right? Like just be the voice for some people that may not have it and or might not get the same attention that some of the other things get out there. And we felt that firsthand. Like we've been around and operating for a while. Like we don't, even all of our sports teams and things like that we operate, we don't get any coverage from news around here, right? Like we don't get any love in that regard. Um, and for us, like we think we got pretty cool things to talk about. Now, granted, we're not the Chiefs, like we're not KU or K State or any of those big things. Like we understand that, but the people that play inside of our league, the athletes that come to our school, the people that are involved with our stuff, like, yeah, it's smaller and they're younger and, their things may not be, as exciting as what they normally cover, whatever. But, for me, I think that's what this is going to be about for me. Like it's going to be about bringing more viewership into our local sports community. And finding ways that these cool stories can make it out to more eyes and more ears. And that's the goal, right? Like that's literally all that it is. If we can help people along in that process, then I feel like that's kind of the mission, right? That's part of what it is that we're drawn to do. And this is just another avenue that we can explore to be able to help more families, help more kids, help more people put themselves out there more. So I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun being able to interview. We're gonna interview 7, 8, 9 year olds in here with their parents, probably, all the way
Oh
up
yeah.
to some people that are obviously close, if not in professional sports. So it's gonna be a wide range where there's a lot of times where those people may never get the opportunity to do something like that and it has nothing to do with the accolade or whatever it is. Like I think we're gonna have a lot of freedoms in here to just bring people on and make it about them and make it fun. And nobody watches it, so what? Like like I literally if they don't like what we're talking about, okay. Like like our we're doing this because we care about the people that we're in front of and we want to try and help those people. And if the people that are out there don't like it, like trust me, we all we all do what we do anyway, so it's not gonna be like some big letdown or, we're not trying to do this to become the next, sports talk show that's live on TV. Like that's not really the thing. So that portion of it I'm excited about. I think highlighting our players, I think is gonna be really cool because people don't understand. Like we have players that come literally from across the world to play right here in the Kansas area, right in our cities and places to play baseball. And I think they all have cool stories. They all have fun things that they bring, right? Their cultures and that type of stuff. And I think that those types of things would be a lot of fun for people to just get to know a little bit more. And hopefully that garnishes more support for those guys, and their story gets out there more, and they can go and do cool things with it. And so that's kind of what I'm looking forward to anyway. But I don't know. What about you guys? What are you guys thinking?
I personally, let's just first start off with the mission that I think we've all bought into over the course of the time that we've been together and moving forward, and that's being able to give back to our community and the athletes that we serve, trying to help them become better individuals in their community and for themselves. So that mission is what stuck with me in the beginning, and it has never failed. So being able to have that and put that out there is huge. So I think for me it's exciting to talk to people with the different stories. I'd be really excited to talk to some former athletes
Oh,
of
for sure.
Parisi, and then of course some of the young ones that I get to say hello to, or maybe we get my guy in here that I get to chase so he can beat his scores from time to time,
Right.
and whatnot. I mean, we could have our guy that came in who wanted to run the 40,
Big Phil.
Big Phil,
Yeah.
who ran the 40
That was
to
actually pretty impressive. This dude came off the couch, and
It's
I
ready to
mean,
roll.
he literally ran. It was a six six
669.
nine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was his best
first
time.
run.
Which, I mean, right off the couch, not really doing too
It's
much. That was impressive. Like, I mean, it's not like anything crazy, but like, and he was walking afterwards. Like, he didn't pull a
Yeah, it wasn't
hamstring.
like
Like, everything was
that was
good.
that was good. That was good. That was the biggest thing I think.
but
Anybody be worried about is him blowing a hammy going through because it can. I mean, that happens to
Especially if you run.
that.
Like, he was hauling ass.
Yeah,
Like,
like
he
he
was
was.
running
He
hard.
was 100%
Yo, he was
gas
giving.
pedal down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his like I was like his arm action was good.
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Right. He just was not blessed with longer legs.
Yeah.
He
I
had to carry.
Yeah.
what did he say? He was like, "Well, this is the leg I broke, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up out of this as fast as I want to." And then, boom, 669, and he's like, "I beat all my buddies bet over or something
I think it
like
was like
that."
the line was like seven and over was the line.
Yeah, something along
Crushed
the.
it.
Oh, sorry, 6.9 was the line.
Yeah.
Obviously.
6.9 was the line. And then he ran a 669 first run.
No,
No,
sorry,
no,
sorry.
no, 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 not in this office.
I
No
was just gonna
trends.
say. I was just gonna say if we have kids on,
Oh,
we gotta suppress their
Urges to do the TikTok trends.
their trend like language, their opposite language they talk.
but back to the stories
Sure.
that we're going to be able to have and bring about for others is truly like the cool part about this. And then I kind of got to nerd out on all of these things to you know
Set it up.
make your vision come to life as we have in the past.
Yep. Sean?
Yeah, just talking about stuff like that gets you excited.
Excited. Success.
Is it gonna
Yes.
success?
We're gonna have a lot of those.
Yeah. No, like man, just looking at all the different avenues we can go for guests or just topics to talk about, and we could just do write a few notes down and try to hit something on that, and then just kind of let I mean we talk all day long. It's just like, and we come up with random stuff to talk about. So it's like
I think this will be the choppiest one that we ever have, because normally, like, getting on here, it's just going to be about, hey, what are we talking about today? Here's the points. Let's run
Yeah.
through them and knock it out. Plus, we'll probably have somebody on the line with us or whatever, and
exactly.
that stuff flows well together. But you got to start somewhere, right? You got to put something out there to at least kind of have a short little intro of what and why. Because if not, you just tune into the first episode, like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I did want to I did want to roll with something quick here. Just kind of going off your monologue. I mean, about the grind, about our mission, and Dave, you talking about us trying to help the community. And I came on after a lot of the hard work was already done. Like I came in here and like there was still like the lounge wasn't finished, and we had a few things at the facility because they had you guys had just moved in there what winter of 2022 or winter of 20
I
early
mean, we've been
early
here for 3 years now, so 20
so winter of 2022
yeah,
is when you moved in,
2022.
yeah. So and I showed up May of 2023, and a lot of this stuff was like already kind of laid out. I did get to spend a lot of quality time in the ceiling, which I always look forward to.
Yes.
But yeah, so I kind of and I'm always going to be interested to hear, and I've heard a lot of stories already, obviously with just us talking, but I'm interested to hearing more of kind of the background of everything and getting into it because I'm obviously very appreciative of what um you guys have done to set up this foundation, and then and obviously like being a part of it now is cool, and then just getting to learn more about that. But I did want to share a verse because I had this right next to me
Oh, nice,
somehow.
nice.
But to go off kind of what you guys were talking about reminded me of we just finished Romans in our at church, and I wanted to quote from there. And this is actually a verse I mentioned quite a few times over the course of the summer with the Daubers, and we'll get into that eventually. But um, it's Romans 8:28. It's a actually fairly popular verse. People but like to quote, and it is, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good for those who are called according to His purpose. And I think on its surface, you can just think, oh, God's going to bring us good things, right? Um, but inside of God's will, good things work together for you when we're acting in our own interests, when we're not serving. You know, it can go wrong,
Yeah.
right? When we act selfishly, when we look for our own gain. And things are always going to be more fulfilling when you act as a servant. And that is, as men, trying to follow God's will, right? It is about serving. And I think that is exactly what we do here. So, I mean, it's easy to say, quote that verse and just say good things are going to happen to you, but and people can look at where you guys are now and what we're doing now and just be like, man, they're lucky. It's like, yeah, we are. We're very blessed. But there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into it. And it's gonna be really fun diving into all that and getting to hear everyone's stories who we have on and to just kind of capture what that's all about
Definitely.
and service. I mean serving others. So it'll be a fun time.
Yeah. Well, and I on that, like, I don't, it's funny we mentioned luck, you know what I mean? Because Ashley and I text my wife, obviously. So I texted her
Well,
this morning, and I texted her good morning, like as I left and all of that stuff. What did I text her? It's funny you said luck because I mentioned something. I text her, "Have a great day. We're so blessed, and I'm grateful for you and our family." And I text her that when I was coming into work, and she responded. She said, "We are so lucky. I love you." And I said, "I don't think it's luck." Because it's not like, luck is such a it's a range word out there that people use for a lot of different stuff, and ultimately, all of this stuff takes work. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's business, whether it's life, relationships, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, it's gonna be work. You know what I mean? And
Blessed is always the best word, I
yeah,
think, I mean, always you say luck. There's always good intention behind that
sure,
because it's
sure,
true. The genuine meaning behind it is definitely blessed,
yeah,
and that is what we are for sure, definitely.
100%. So, but yeah, no, I think that there's gonna be a bunch of really fun things. I mean, that's the coolest part about it is, it's really there's a lot. Like and I think that's part of what this is going to be about is us being able to bring more eyes onto the whole bit. And I mean, there's just athletes all around us. There's organizations with different small communities all around us. I mean, just imagine all of the like imagine all the sponsors that are involved with our teams across the board, but then all of our nonprofit teams that give back and we try to do as much as we can in our small communities that we help out, right? Think about how many things we could, talk about with all of that stuff. And it just, it allows more people to hear, the things that are special that are working on, these small communities. And So there's a lot of pieces to that, and I think we're in the right place at the right time to really do some of that stuff because we have a lot of footing. I talked to Drew about this. I don't know when it was. Talked to him a bunch lately, but um, like just with all the organizations, like there's just a lot of footing that is there. Kind of like what you're saying is you know, the hard work, quote unquote, like there's been a lot of that done and kind of put the footing in place for us to be able to just focus on forward and not so much have to worry about not that we're going to stop worrying about our day-to-day stuff, but it's just we're allowed, we're able to think a little bit bigger picture and do some of those things, and I think this is just a vehicle that's going to help us do that. I'm excited to we can get back into the school system here maybe a little bit with this, like being able to help kids that might not even know that this place exists, and try to find different ways to bring lights to those things and just have different things. And when I think of around here, I don't know of anybody that's really doing something like that I know of. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's podcasts and there's radio shows and like all the stuff, like ESPN, you can see them up there. Like we work with those guys for our stuff and they're awesome, but they don't do local, like they do, but they don't, right? They do stuff with us, which is great, but that's like a little segment here and there, right? They're not following the 9, 10, 11, 12 year olds that are having these life moments happen to them that are all things that develop athletes at a younger age into the athletes that they become interesting enough for them to follow later down, right, or later down the road. And I think that's where we could kind of bridge that gap a little bit and tell cool stories and talk about those kids doing different things. And I get it. Like the common person out there probably doesn't give two craps about stuff like that, but we do, like, because it just lines in with all of the, it's like the engine to our vehicle, like those athletes and those families are the reason that we are able to do the stuff that we do. And that's why we like it so much. So that side of it's gonna be a lot of fun and gonna be pretty cool, and, we'll get some new effects and fun things on the pod, like, Dave's already ordered something else, I don't even know what that is, but
No, I
it
haven't.
oh, okay. Well, he talked about ordering something else, so that's gonna be coming and different videos, although I don't mind this is actually kinda nice, just right in front of us, but
Yeah, but the connectivity issues that we had today would be away from what we're dealing with. It wasn't an internet issue. Actually, for the first time, I think Amazon's flexing its muscle
yeah.
with the AWS system having a global outage. So we had to backdoor our way into everything through the web and make sure that we could do our show today. And of course that was fun. But outside of that, just trying to make it seamless, just like we do everything else.
Yeah, there you go. Alright, so let's do, we still got some time, so, let's do like a look forward, right? So let's think of something that you guys, and I just kind of put you guys on the spot here for, look forward things. Okay. Now we didn't talk about Summer Ball Showdown too much. So let's do a little bit of a Summer Ball Showdown look forward, right? Because that's going to be in some of these next upcoming episodes. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to doing with SBS, talking about SBS, being a part of SBS, and obviously we'll dive into the whole story behind it on that episode. But what's something or it could be more than one thing too. Just little tidbit there.
I think the most exciting part for me is going to be being able to have our sponsors in here to talk about things and our partners to the fun things that we have going on. We can actually have somebody call in, or we can invite them so that they can be seen on our show and those kind of things. But I think being able to bring those guys in to project them out, because they also see the vision that we do, and being able to showcase that is huge. And then on a different note, for the Summer Ball Showdown, is bringing it to the light that it truly is, the largest national tournament in the country of its kind, and also the most affordable to make that dream come true, to compete. And we have a coach that recently joined with us, I sat down with him to run a test, and hearing his story about his timeline of events and how God took him through everything, and then just saying that he felt like he finally could close the chapter of his summer collegiate baseball for the Wellington Heat after winning a title and being up in the top four for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
So hearing that and just those testaments to the actions that we do and get to see, those are the things that I'm looking forward to the most.
Awesome. Okay, Sean, let's do you do Parisi because obviously that's your
Dude, I'm
figurehead
looking
over
I'm
here.
looking forward to the SBS too.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We'll talk
What a
about
what a
I'll
fun
the
keep you off the roster
the
again this year.
No. It's unfair. I could some look forward to Parisi, man. We got just the winter months, it's gonna be hectic in here.
yeah.
The other half of the facility is the rental, the cages and stuff. It's gonna be pretty much popping 7 days a week. Come December. So and then we got a lot of stuff rolling on the Parisi side. A lot of teams coming in to do team trainings, which I mean, since I've been here for sure, we've had a few off and on, but we haven't had like what we're gonna have here, which is a ton of teams coming in and got some fun. It's just gonna be fun to see the progress of all that. And then as far as our regular program goes, our jump start and our total performance, just to kind of finish out the year. It'll be fun to kind of look back, but we got some testing coming up next week at the end of the month, testing for our regular programming. So that's always fun because those kids get to come in and see what if they can beat their scores from last month, and it's fun to watch, it's fun to see the progress throughout the month, and then put together like a post kind of highlighting those kids and kind of celebrate them a little bit. So that'll be fun. And and what else? I think it's pretty much it for right now. I'll think of something else.
No, you're good.
You were just put on the spot, man. It's okay. Like, there's a lot to look forward to this winter. I assure you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be crazy in
The
here.
wintertime is wild in here. And again, it's about the footing of all the different things we got going on, but it's a good problem to have, being busy and having different things happening. So that's solid. For myself, for me, all of it is my answer. I'm looking forward to every little bit of this and just having fun with it, man. That's the big thing. I looking forward to putting you guys out there a little bit more, helping you guys continue to grow. I think that's part of my, kind of mission with everything that I do is like just growing close to the people around me and trying to help in any way that I can. I kind of live by the principles of, if the people around me are successful, then I hopefully am moving along that journey with them. And, so that's why I try to pour in so much to that side of it is, because you can't, or you probably could do certain things alone, but I just wouldn't have as much fun. And, for me, I think I've said that ever since I started working for myself was, if I'm gonna do it, I want to have fun. Like I want to enjoy my life. We only get one life to live, so I do not want to be in an office and stuck in a place that I just don't enjoy and don't want to be a part of. And here is something that I look forward to doing every single day. It's something where I know that we're making an impact. And being able to work through your heart is something that not everybody gets. Right? You guys can anybody that does hear this everybody not everybody but a high percentage of people around them don't like what they do, like they don't enjoy it, like they don't have things that they surround themselves with that they're motivated about and actually living through passion and that type of stuff, and we have that here. And for me, that is one of the most important things to seek after in this life is being passionate and giving with a full heart and trying to develop and become better versions of ourselves, right, every single day. And this podcast is going to help us do that. And I think that that's a big piece for me is just trying to be about what we say we're about, and going out there and just enjoying those moments and getting to know people in the process. So
What if I told you
Yeah. Tell me something good.
you can make even more money
Oh.
with online coaching? So
Well, actually, we're doing this so we never have to leave this desk. You work with people? Ew, what? Why would you do that?
you're working way too hard, man.
Goodness.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think on the big topics, that's probably a pretty good spot. Let's finish out with a little freestyle. Anything fun to say? I did the Packers won this weekend, so I'm ecstatic. That was a not so fun game to watch, but found a
If it-
way.
At
So
the end of the day, they're all fun, right?
yeah, something.
mean-
You can see I'm a Packers fan. Dave's chair back there, he's a 49ers fan, and Sean's got one of the new office chairs that doesn't have Iowa on it, but he's an Iowa fan.
Yeah,
so.
it's it's just every single time Iowa plays Penn State, I literally is blood pressure is always through the roof. Every single game comes right down to the wire. It's and it happened again this weekend, which is funny because it's Saturday night, so I'm super tired. You know, throughout the
Oh yeah.
you know, and I get I think Penn State took the lead to go up 24-19 with another field goal, and then I was watching, I fall asleep, and I missed the touchdown drive by Iowa to take the lead, and I woke up, and yet somehow, like even out of sleep, my heart was still pounding, like I was just watching the game anyway. Because I wake up from a text from Sheldon, he's like, I said something about like let's go or big score, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I look at the score, I'm like, oh shoot. But like my heart and my like body like still pounding like I was
Yes.
watching the game in real time. Because that is I'm telling my parents would testify to this as well. Like every single game I have like a freak out. I try not to do that anymore. I try not to take it as seriously, but it's tough not to.
We went for it on the Packers had a 4th and 2.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't watch the game, did you?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Well, this was, I mean, LaFleur's got some balls on him, basically, is all that boils down to. Is we go out there, it's 4th and 2. His third down play calling yesterday was crazy. But 4th and 2, we send the field goal unit out. And we're down by 3, right? We're in the fourth quarter with a minute. Actually, I think there was just over 2 minutes left at that point in time, something like that. He go out there, run the field goal unit out there, and we had 2 timeouts, and then we call a timeout, which I'm like, okay, so now we're gonna go in. Like, what are we doing? Why are we calling a timeout? Field goal units on the field, like kick field goal, move it along, keep your timeouts, get the ball back. So anyway, he calls timeout, and then offense rolls back out onto the field, and I'm like, oh lordy, like what is gonna happen here? Ended up Tucker Kraft ran like a little out route, kind of pushed off the guy, and
Guy's a beast.
oh, dude, he's an animal. But that I was freaking out at that point in time. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? But you know, sometimes what did he said it? He said like, God, what was his comment in his post game interview? He's like, you got to risk it to get the biscuit or something like that. He said something. It wasn't that. It was something else.
Trying to
But
be like,
scared money don't make money. That's what he said.
Trying to be like Kurt Signetti from Indiana. You
Oh,
ever
oh,
seen,
yeah,
seen
yeah,
his
yeah.
sound bites?
Oh yeah.
That guy's he's electric.
Yeah.
He just got a
Definitely.
massive extension. Too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
And then like Sunday
It was like
night.
$92 million or something.
Oh,
Wasn't it?
dude. Well, and they had to do that since Penn State's job opened up. You knew Penn State was going to go after him hard, so
Yeah.
they had to do that. And then last night, Sunday night football, the 2 best running backs in football going head to head.
Thank you to my fantasy team.
My goodness.
I
I watched the first half.
I had a clean sweep this weekend. You know, how Ohio State
Yeah.
just took the whole pack of Badgers down.
What Wisconsin might be the
But-
worst team in the country.
But
Yeah, that
no,
was
we were out on the golf course, and I was listening to the game, and the guy in the cart right next to me in the cart, he goes, "Turn it off." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "You don't need to watch my team get beat." And I was like, "You're a Badgers fan?"
That's tough.
And he was like, "Yeah, turn it off."
That's tough. That is
So I shut it off, and then got a score update, and it made noise on the speaker, and he was like, "What? Did they score again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they did."
Yeah.
Well, too bad. And then of course the Niners played last night. Christian McCaffrey just carried us all the way there, and so did that young defense. I mean, I was definitely pleased in seeing that. Obviously missing Fred Warner and Bosa for sure, but being able to get back to healthy and shooting a text to Sheldon, I bet you were sweating last night. And he was like, no, bro, I'm good. And then hearing it today, he was. It
I
was
was cashing. I
Well,
was
he,
ready.
he was doing the pacing thing. So,
Oh
but
god.
but
Epic.
anyways,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know that we have a cool sign off yet. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an honor to be able to be a part of this and dig into all of these fun things to keep me on my toes and stuff like that. So thanks guys for allowing me the opportunity to be here, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else on this one anyway. I don't. We'll have more direction on the next one. I think we'll have kind of episode by episode with some cool stuff that we're talking about. Have some really cool people on. We're gonna get all of our coaches on here. You guys will get to meet them and hear, the different parts of the country that they come from, and that come to play in Kansas and be a part of Kansas, and our culture and just our communities. So I think that will be fun, and I'm sure that will be on the horizons here pretty quickly. But past that, that's pretty much all I got for this first one. I'm glad we were able to hop on and just kind of work out the bugs and just get on here for the first time.
Yeah.
So
So what is this now? Like Kansas Sports HQ out?
now we gotta come up with something.
something
Yeah.
along
Well,
the
we got to
We
be.
gotta have like a little transition in,
Yeah.
transition out. Yeah,
You
some cool
know,
videos. You
boom,
hit some
boom, boom.
buttons.
All right, I'll take notes and start working on some stuff.
There we go.
Got to
Yeah,
figure it
big
all
big
out.
shout out to executive producer Dave for getting figuring all this stuff out, because
Right.
I know if I tried to do any of this, I'd give up. I'd start
I
throwing.
tried to, and then I got food.
I'd start throwing stuff around. That's my reaction to
For the
technology.
first time, this office has nothing to really throw around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
shout out
excited
to
about that.
we cleaned it up pretty nice in here, so
Yeah.
it looks good right now.
All right, then. Well, guys, it was great jumping on the first episode, and look forward to many more.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Adios.